Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan and today we're heading back off to Europe for another world race. Before I do that, I'm just going to pop up to the options and we're going to have a bit of a change. Some of the races I've been running on normal and they've been way too easy. We've been winning really easily and several people have commented on this, so I'm actually going to start using the hard and we'll just drop back to normal where it's too difficult. So for the rest of these videos, I'm going to be bouncing between the hard and normal. So today we're going to be doing the World Touring Car 800 at Catalunya, a track that I am very good at spinning on, so hopefully we'll be able to keep it going in a straight line. The car of choice for this one is the NSX Concept. I did try a few other cars, but this one is really planted. We're going with the racing medium tyres. The suspension is all normal. The changes were the output adjustment 97, the ballast of 192 and the power restrictor of 97. That was to bring the PP below 800, which is a requirement for this race. The rest is pretty much standard. I'll let you look through on the video and you'll be able to see what I've actually got set, but nothing overly exciting in there. We're going with the racing medium tyres because we're going to try and do this without a stop. So this is the World Touring Car 800 at Catalunya and we've got 10 laps to get through the field. So here we go. I'm going to set the fuel map to 3 so that we can get through the traffic but also get to the end of this race as without actually having to stop, which is the main thing. I'm going to hope that one or more of these cars, or most of the cars, are going to need to stop for tyres or fuel or whatever. So my main aim here is just to try and work my way through this traffic, but also try and keep within around about 20 seconds of the leaders. So making our way past the Porsche and the Ford there quite nicely, coming up on the back of the Alfa here. The other thing I'm trying to do here is, again, I'm trying to work on my racecraft a little bit and do some good overtakes. That doesn't always happen in the AI races because the AI doesn't always legislate for you putting your car in an unusual position or coming up the inside. They do tend to like to take their defined line, as it were. So the main emphasis of this is to go gold rather than trying to actually get a clean race. Clean race bonus will be a benefit. Quite a twisty track, this one. I've got the radar on at the moment purely so I can see where I am in relation to other cars and when I've got the overtake done. And as we come up to this final chicane, then we'll start the lap afresh. So this will be lap 2 of 10. We've just got the Lexus has come down the inside of us here, but we should be able to get him on the outside quite nicely as we come across the start finish to start this lap again. So as we're coming down into this first corner, I'm going to start braking at the beginning of the curb and just getting this down into 3rd gear. Ride that curb as much as possible. As we transition through the race, we do start to brake later and later for that corner as we get more and more confident with the car. 3rd gear through here, just hugging that curb as much as you can, then let it drift out to the right hand side. Braking as you go underneath the bridge, not on the shadow. Remember, shadows move, so we're braking just as we go under or just before the bridge and getting it down into 3rd gear again. Here I'm looking for a little grey patch, I think it was, on the right hand side. We'll come back to that one in a moment, and down into 2nd. And then as we come down into this one, we're looking at the beginning of that curb on the right hand side, down into 3rd gear. You can get quite a lot of the curb used through that particular corner. And then through here, I'm just looking for that orange patch on the alcove on the left hand side. Sometimes I'll take that down to 5th or 4th just to get through that corner, but the alcove is what I'm looking for. Here I am just coming down into second gear. I'll call out the braking points for that one in a moment. There's a couple of corners there are quite difficult to find the braking point for. And then I quite like third gear through here, just feathering it through the latter part of that corner. Full on the accelerator off, leaving it in third. I don't like to take too many of the curbs through here. The AI takes quite a lot of curb, but I found that it upset the car. Second for the last of the chicane. You can come out quite wide there, but again, getting it on the curbs, I tended to find that it did unsettle the car. So I tended to try and stay off the curbs through there if I could. And then it's just straight up through the gears, full power, slipstreaming even all the way through here. Buried a brake pedal, as I said, down into third. We're just following the Mazda through here at the moment. We get an opportunity up the left hand side, and then I've got my eyes on the Apex and the Honda in front. Very often the AI will go a little bit wide. They'll take a wider line there, which is probably the better line, but it does give us an overtaking opportunity on the right hand side. So that's why I adjust my lines a little bit differently through there. Just braking with the cars through here at the moment so we don't run into the back of them. So when I'm in traffic, I tend to watch for brake lights and where the cars in front are braking. Sometimes you'll get a run up the inside of a car, as we just did with the BMW there. Sometimes that doesn't always come off, just need to be a little bit careful. So we're just running side by side with the BMW through there. We do get that corner in the end. And as we come up to this one, we are just looking for the board on the right hand side there, or just where there's a little bit where the grass runs out is where we're turning in. You're probably going to need to find your own braking point for that particular corner, because it's quite difficult to pick out individual items around the track or at the side of the track. I was looking while I was running this race, I'm actually narrating this afterwards, but I was trying to pick out a braking point every single lap, and to be quite honest, for a couple of the corners, that being one of them, I was struggling. So again, we're coming down this long straight. If you're not running this car and you've got a car with NOS in it, then this is a good place to run that. Down into third gear, so full on the brakes really heavily, take loads of the curb on the way in, loads of the curb on the way out. Again, I'm watching the cars up in front, so where are they going to go? It looks like the Audi is taking my normal line that I like through there, so just backed off a little bit. Just trying to come up the inside of the Subaru here at the moment. Didn't quite pull that off. We just got into these cars, a little bit of banging and barging going on, so that'll be the clean race bonus gone. They broke a little bit more heavily than I had expected. And then just running to the Audi at the moment, so being careful where they're braking and just trying not to run into the back of them too hard. So again, at the beginning of the curb there, again they broke really hard, much harder than I needed to, and that did give me another overtaking opportunity. Again, watching for that orange part of the alcove on the left hand side for that corner, and then you can carry a nice lot of speed down into this corner, but you will need to lose it before you get into this corner. Second gear for that one, and then up to third normally as I go across that curb. Sometimes, as in this case, I've left it in second, probably watching the car in front more than thinking about the gears, but normally third through there. Leave it third through here, again just staying off of the curbs, down into second. Again, just come between the curbs for this one. You can run out to the left there and run that sausage curb, but again I preferred not to, and I tended to find that the NSX was a little bit more balanced if I didn't use the curb. So that's 5 of 10, and we're up to 6th position at the moment. We're still roughly where we want to be. We are 19.9 seconds, 20 seconds behind the leader, which is okay if they're going to be pitting. And the other thing to bear in mind is we have been working our way through the traffic, which has compromised our lines quite a bit. Now that we're in some free air, we can pick our lines better and pick our braking points better. So braking as you go underneath the bridge there, I left it a little bit late. Third gear all the way through here. I've just chosen second because I went too deep. Down into second for this one. Let that run. Now I will say maybe pause, rewind the video to check exactly where I am braking, because one or two of these points I am just doing from feel. As I said, one or two of these corners I was struggling to find reference points. The orange pit on the Arncove there, and then third through here. I think you could probably do it in fourth gear, but I tended to find that I was running out into the gravel in fourth gear, and third was better for me. There's a little grey gravel part at the right hand side there I think I was using to get down into second gear for that corner. Went a little bit deep, take lots of the left hand curb there, and then third through here, just balancing the throttle as needed, leaving it in third, watching for the apex of that corner, come across to the right hand side, down into second, through here, just missed that first apex a little bit, but got away with that, and we got the first few cars are pitting, which is great news for us. I've moved across to the fuel map. Incidentally, you'll notice that we are still on fuel map level 3, and we've got 4 laps to run, and we're actually a little bit more than 4 laps, and we've got 5.6 laps of fuel, so we're fine on fuel at the moment. You'll notice that I'm still upshifting early occasionally for a little bit of fuel saving. Didn't really need to do that with this fuel map setting. I think if you're struggling to get through the traffic, and you shouldn't be, I mean, you can see we're making some good headway on this hard setting, then you could possibly get away with power level 2 and a little bit of fuel saving, but 3 worked for me. So we're coming up on the third place runner right now, and when you do reach these last few cars, then you do realise what a difference this hard setting makes over the normal. You have actually got to work to get onto the back of them, and then you've got to work to actually get an overtake done. So we have caught up with this this car in front, which is the Nissan GTR, and just thinking about how we're going to overtake at the moment. We get an opportunity up the inside. He went a little bit deep, so we did manage to do an overtake there, and you can see just how much time you can make up on the AI, even with the hard settings. But at this point, don't get carried away. We're on lap 6, and I haven't spoken about tyres yet, but we're on the racing medium tyres that we hope will get us to the end. The racing softs, I found, tend to go away from me a little bit too much, and he got very, very slippery in about lap 8. We've got first and second are pitting as well now, so that is going to prompt us into first place. So now we need to be careful. We're in a situation where we are out front with a 2-second advantage. I was just talking about tyres, and that is a really opportune time to actually start talking about the tyres, because now that we're out in front, we can dictate the pace a little bit, but we've got to continue to push. But also note that we are about half worn on the tyres, and I found that around about lap 7 it did start to slide around more than it had been earlier on, and the car was not braking quite as efficiently as it was, because these tyres are becoming a little bit second hand at this point. So lap 7, lap 8, depending on how you've looked after your tyres throughout the race, and one of the things you do need to do is to look after your tyres, but if you've looked after them pretty well, you should be okay. But if you've been throwing it through corners, then at this point you are going to need to adjust your braking points and your turning points and just keep it as smooth as you can. Lap 3 was our fastest lap, which we've managed to hold throughout the race to this point, which is quite nice. That was a reasonably decent corner. I can probably take more of the curbs through here, but at this point we are out in the lead, and a lead of around about 6 seconds, and there's really no need to be really aggressive on the curbs or really aggressive on throwing it in. At this point, I just want to keep it clean, I want to keep it tidy, I want to look after the tyres. And if we can maintain that 6-second margin, well, then that is all good. I think we're pretty much committed not to coming in for a pit stop right now, so we're not going to be changing the tyres. We're certainly okay with the fuel. We've got 3.6 laps and we just started our 8th, so we're pretty okay with that. Maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on, just to make sure that we will have enough fuel as we get to the end. So sometimes I'm upshifting early, other times, as you can see there, I'm letting the revs run a little bit more. So third gear through here, and again you're just going to need to find your braking point. So it tended to be, I think, at the beginning of that, the red and white part of the curb for that one. If you watch back the video, I think you'll find that I'm relatively inconsistent on that corner. This one is the beginning of the curb, and then really getting up, you can see just how much curb you can take through there, but make sure that you've got the car pretty straight, otherwise it will upset the balance. That one I didn't used to take quite so much of the curb. There was a sausage there that upset the car a little bit. Through here there's a black skid mark just on the curb. I think I was using that to brake, but occasionally that would leave me up on the sausage on the exit of the curb. We got out on the marbles now, so you can see lap 8, as I said, the tyres are starting to go away from us a little bit. In particular, the left-hand side tyres are definitely wearing a lot more than the right-hand side. There's a lot of really fast right-hand turns like this one where it does take a lot out of the near side tyres. So try and look after those throughout the race if you possibly can. But at this point, you really need to be watching those tyres and making sure that everything is okay. If you are struggling with tyres, of course, we are on the racing mediums. You could, I think, quite easily drop on the racing hards, and then you won't have any problems whatsoever with the tyres. At least I wouldn't think so. Obviously, they are slower than the racing mediums, but at this point, with the pit stops, we are now a massive 17.5 seconds ahead. And I'll remind you, for those of you that have been following me, we've been doing these races on normal settings. We've stepped up to hard for this one, and we are still a country mile ahead of the cars behind. And I think a lot of that is down to the car, how well it is balanced around this particular track. It's very, very easy to drive. I tried several cars. I tried the BMW VGT that I love, but it just wasn't quick enough. I tried the Ford GT, which just didn't want to slow down regardless of what I did. I tried a couple of other cars before I settled on this one, and this, for my driving style and for an average racer such as I am, I think that this is the perfect car, the absolute perfect car for this particular race, and I'd recommend it wholeheartedly. So we come around to finish our 9th lap and start our 10th and final lap. We are still around about 17 seconds ahead, so we don't have enough time to come in and do a pit stop, but we don't need to. The tyres are going to get us to the end of the race. We just need to monitor those just to make sure that we don't take too much life out of them. But with a 17-second lead, we can afford to give away a few seconds into each corner in the interests of just keeping it on the black stuff and not spinning or doing anything silly. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same all the way through this race. The same gears, the same turning points. Again, I just used second very briefly there just to get a little bit of extra engine braking and rotation as the tyres are going away. And now just being a little bit more cautious on some of these tight turns to make sure that we don't spin or do anything silly. Third through here, just taking loads of the curb again. Again, that one I don't tend to take too much of the curb because of that sausage. Looking for the orange parts. Again, that one I don't take too much of the curb because of that little sausage in the middle of it. Down into here, we're just looking for that little grey patch. There's just a little grey patch of gravel there is where I'm braking. Gone a little bit deep on that occasion because these tyres are going off and definitely haven't quite got the stopping power that we had. But otherwise everything is all pretty settled. We got 1.1 laps of fuel left, so we got a complete lap of fuel left for the race. So as I said, you could probably take that up to power level 2 if you wish, but power level 3 was absolutely perfect. And even though I thought we backed off a little bit, we still finished around about 19-20 seconds ahead of second place, which was the margin that I wanted to keep for the pit stop. So I said at the beginning, try and keep a 20-second margin, and we got a 19.7. So that was quite nice. So 154,000 credits. More importantly, the gold trophy wasn't clean. We did bump a few people in that particular race, but this is all about getting the gold trophies rather than getting clean races. If you're going to be grinding, put it on easy and just make it easy. For now, I'm going to try and run most of these races on the hard settings, as I mentioned, because the medium settings were just getting too easy. Whether that is the fact that our driving skills are improving or what, I'm not quite sure. And if we do find some more difficult races, then I will drop down to the normal settings for the videos. Anyway, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are new around here, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really does help the channel. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers, which would be a great milestone. If you can help me, that would be great. And if you are a current subscriber, back for more, thank you ever so much for continuing to support my channel. It is greatly appreciated. For now, I'll see you on another race at Catalunya coming very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.